Welcome to a discussion of civil rights issues and career technical program admissions. My name is Michelle Ward, and I serve as the Methods of Administration's Coordinator for Ohio. The regulatory authorities are listed here. Authority is under Title VI, Title IX, Section 504, and the 1979 Methods of Administration Guidelines. The guidelines state that a subrecipient may not develop, impose, maintain, approve, or implement criteria controlling eligibility for admissions to career technical education programs that unlawfully discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, or disability. It's important to note that admissions criteria with the effect of disproportionately excluding persons of a particular race, color, national origin, sex, or disability may not be used unless they are validated as essential to participation in a particular program and alternative, equally valid criteria that do not have a disproportionate adverse effect are unavailable. We know that in almost all cases, there's no intent to discriminate. Sometimes a policy or action is undertaken with the very best of motives, perhaps with an intent to help students. The law is clear, though. Even if no discrimination is intended, it's about the effect or outcome that matters. When it comes to recruitment, a subrecipient must ensure that promotional and recruitment efforts do not discriminate based on race, color, national origin, sex, or disability. They must conduct their recruitment activities so as not to exclude or limit opportunities. And they may not undertake promotional efforts in a manner that creates or perpetuates stereotypes or limitations on those bases. Let's talk a little bit about students who have limited English proficiency. Subrecipients may not restrict admission to vocational education programs because the applicant, as a national origin minority person with limited English language skills, cannot participate and benefit to the same extent as a student whose primary language is English. Although rare, we do sometimes see subrecipients discourage or prohibit students from entering a program based on their English proficiency. Perhaps they just want to keep them at a school that has a particular teacher. Well, you just can't do that. If a subrecipient service area has a community of national origin minority persons with limited English language skills, promotional literature must be available to that community in its language. So how do we define community? Ask yourself if there is a significant percentage of people from different national origins in your community. Is there local news, radio, or TV programming that is available and targeted at persons from specific national origins? Are there community centers, grocery stores, churches, or other places where people of different national origins gather or are supported? An area where we sometimes encounter a problem in admissions is when a prerequisite for a course is required. An introductory, preliminary, or exploratory course may not be a prerequisite for admission unless it is available without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, or disability. For secondary program, we recommend that prerequisites not be used, as the bar is very high for a prerequisite to be considered as acceptable. Access to CTE programs or courses may not be denied to students with disabilities on the ground that employment opportunities in any occupation or profession may be more limited for persons with disabilities than for other persons. This is an area where we have frequent questions from subrecipients. It is never acceptable for outcome to be considered when admitting students at a secondary level, and seldom acceptable at the post-secondary level. Subrecipients must ensure that their counseling materials and activities, including program selection and career employment selection, do not discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, or disability. When conducting civil rights reviews, we frequently must cite findings in this area. Please be sure to look at your marketing materials to ensure that they leave an impression of welcome and diversity for all subpopulations. When conducting programming or extracurricular activities, be sure to not exclude or discourage any subpopulation, including gender. Often, with the best of intentions, we will see activities such as a special event targeted at girls or a minority group. This type of event is never permitted at the secondary level for CTE, and only possible for academic programming in very limited circumstances. Counselors must not direct or urge any student to enroll or measure or predict a student's prospects for success in any particular program or career based upon his race, color, national origin, sex, or disability. Steering works both ways. A person could be counseled to not participate in a program or counseled to participate in a program. Remember, it is effect or result that matters here, not intent to help students. If a CTE program disproportionately enrolls male or female students, students of a particular race or national origin, or students with disabilities, the subrecipient must take steps to ensure that the disproportion does not result from unlawful discrimination in counseling activities. Again, result is what matters, not intent. It's also important to note that disproportionate enrollment on its own is not a violation. It could, however, be evidence supporting that a violation exists, and it must always be addressed, violation or not. As a reminder, this presentation provides general information and does not represent a complete recitation of the applicable law and policy. It doesn't address specific issues of compliance because determinations of compliance are fact-specific and should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. If you have questions about an activity or possible situation at your district, please do call me for assistance. Calling for assistance does not put your district on the radar for a review. Review selection is calculated using a very specific formula and criteria. So we encourage everyone to self-monitor and reach out for technical assistance.